Well, happy Tuesday to you. Chris Hare here, the Crypto Cowboy, bringing you another nightly update for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Today is Tuesday, October 14th. It's about 10 o'clock in Texas. Got everything bedded down, fed. It's time to get into the chart. So if you're enjoying these videos, like the video, subscribe to our channel, hit that bell notification. You'll get notifications as soon as a video drops. And go ahead and leave us a comment. That helps the YouTube algorithm and gets us out to more people. Now, I need to remind you, these videos are not for financial advice. They are for entertainment and educational purposes only. Use caution when trading crypto. You could lose all of your money. All right, let's get to work here. Here we are, crypto fear and greed index. We were at a 41 yesterday, dropped back into fear, 37. And what I've told you, it sounds like a broken record, but the best times to buy are when this drops to fear. You can see every time we come into fear, we have pumps after. Fear pumps. This one chopped around, but there was still profit, and then it pumped. Extreme fear was an amazing time to buy. We went on that big run and came back down. Now we're in fear again. So history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Usually a good time to buy. Moving on to the alt season index, I wanted to go ahead and add this since we're kind of looking for moves higher, for the alts and some separation on Bitcoin. We're at a 39 right now, so we're almost halfway. What I'd really like to see is for this to get into the blue. This shows the balance of Bitcoin versus altcoins, and Bitcoin's driving the truck right now. There's more invested in Bitcoin than altcoins. But when this gets into the blue, guys, that's when our altcoins will probably start to run. Notice Bitcoin dominance was coming down today, so that's a good sign. But we'll move on over to the liquidation heat map for Bitcoin. This is on the weekly. You can see we've got two bright pockets, and we're right in the middle. So this is why I'm pretty much risk off and in a no trade zone. I made some good trades last night that put me about 150% in profit this morning, and I've gone ahead and closed those out just to wait and see what happens here. But you can see we've got about 1.65 billion to the downside, down to about 105,000. You go to that top side, guys, 3.54 billion liquidations, and liquidations up to about $128,000. Even down to around all-time highs, you're still at 3 billion. So there is an imbalance. Question is, are they going to come down and grab this liquidity too, or are we just going to go ahead and moonshot from here? We'll break that down in the chart, so let's get to it. Here we go, Bitcoin daily chart right here. You can tell we've lost this 50 moving average, but you can see we keep putting in these higher lows. So I'm not trading this right now. I kind of want to see what happens here. Maybe we drop down to 111, but that heat map showed there's some big pockets of liquidity right up here, right towards that golden zone. So a lot of times I'll trade this 50, but the way we've just chopped around, I'm kind of sitting this out. I want to see some kind of structure. Like you can see here, it's an obvious we're going up. Or back here, it's an obvious going up. And that's what I'm looking for. When this thing's bouncing around back and forth between these two orange lines, I'm not going to trade it. I'm going to wait for it to break one side or the other, and then we'll consider it. So if we break this and move on down, you're looking for about 108 to 103,000 on the daily. But if we break this to the upside and we retest this 50 and get past this 382, these are Fibonacci's that just give me an idea from swing high to swing low where our percentages are. A little more advanced in trading, but I'm going to keep it simple for you guys so we understand what's going on. So like I said, we're waiting for this to come up, retest, break out of this 382 at about 115.1. Our first target would be then 117,000 to 121,000. And then we're probably thinking about a move up, probably to 133 to 141,000. Going down to the 4-hour chart. I don't trade a lot of 4-hour charts, but I wanted to give the perspective here of what's going on. So I didn't put anything to the top side right now. The daily kind of tells us what we're doing, but I wanted to kind of monitor this downside move pretty close and see what happens. So we've rejected the 200 and the 50 moving average twice. Now the 50 moving average takes 50 of these candles and creates a fluid line on the chart. And what this works as is a fluid support and resistance, not just a horizontal. Like there's support, there's resistance here at about 122,500. There's more resistance here at about 124.7. But you can see we've got a little bit of support. We've actually got a lot of support here because we bounced off of it right about 109,000. We bounced off of it here, here, here. Now you can play this two ways. The more you beat on one of these resistance lines, the weaker it becomes, or it's just so strong, it's going to take bounce off of it here. There is a little bit of a head and shoulders forming here. So along about 109,000 would be your validation, and it would be the move from the top of the head to the right shoulder. So but what these head and shoulders work for is they also work for really good bounce zones. You can see we've hit it and bounce, hit it and bounce, hit it and bounce. So I'm gonna kind of wait. If we were to lose this line here, I would probably go ahead and take a short because we're probably looking down lower, somewhere around 106 to 103,000. But for the time being, I'm risk off. I'm not going to trade this. We're just right in the middle of a bunch of support and resistance, and there's really no good direction of which way this thing's going to go. If we go out to it now, let's move on to Ethereum. That gives you a good idea on Bitcoin, where we are and where my mind is. We'll go to an Ethereum liquidation heat map, and there is a ton of liquidations to the top side. So we've got $1 billion worth of liquidations down to about 3,600. There's a pocket right here around 3,900, 4,000. Another one right here about 4,050, and then it's headed up for this one around 4,100. So do we come back down and grab these little pockets of liquidity before going up, or are we going to find some kind of support and go after these broader pockets? Getting into the charts, it's going to tell us that. Pulled over here. Here we go. Ethereum on the 4-hour. We'll come back to that. I don't see a need for daily charts tonight. Previous videos have discussed that. You can find those on my channel. All these charts are in the crypto school. There's links to that in my description. You'll find all the information there, how to get in. I post all the charts, videos, random thoughts throughout the day. Posted a couple of signals over the last few days that kind of help you guys that are trying to learn what's going on. So here we go. Ethereum on the daily. You can see we've closed above this 50 moving average, which is bullish, guys. I'm pretty optimistic about this. At 4-hour golden zone, I went ahead and left it on the chart, and I'm sorry about all the lines, but it's relevant, and I'm going to lay it out and explain it to you. So what we're looking for here is a retest on this 50 moving average. Like I said, this is 50 candles, and it's a fluid support and resistance. It also lines up with this peak right over here that we set on July 25th at about $2,963. So it's strong support. You can tell we lost it. We plowed through it, and then we've came back. We retested it once, took a big move from there, came down, lost it in that horrible dip, but we've worked our way back up to reclaim it. So that's pretty darn bullish, guys. We still are in this descending channel, and I told you guys when it broke out up here, 80% of the time they go to the bottom, and that's exactly what it did. Went straight to the bottom. But now we're working back up. We found some good support. So I want to see what happens here. I want to see what happens at around $4,000. If we can take this and claim it and not lose it, then we're taking a move to the upside. Our next checkpoint will be this top of this channel. Generally, when they come out of these, they like to come down and retest it. Sometimes they'll come all the way back down and retest. But then you take the length of this move from the top of your channel to the bottom of your channel, place it here, and then that gives you upside targets. So what are our upside targets? We kind of have an idea of what's going down. I don't have them marked here, but I'm going to go ahead and throw them on this daily chart for you. So our upside targets, first line of defense is going to be right here, somewhere between $4,600 and $4,400. That's going to be our first take profit zone. If we successfully close above it and move out to the top side, our next targets are $5,400 to $6,000. So if we lose this and lose this golden zone, we're headed down to these weekly targets like we've talked about before, somewhere around $2,000, $3,100 to $2,000, I think is pretty good. But we're not going to burn that bridge till we get there. We've got some good things going on here, and hopefully we're going to ride these out a little farther. We'll go out to the 4-hour chart. It's going to, and I've set this up to break down our downside move, and I've also got shorter term targets. So you can see we talked about that daily that's sitting right down here, and it's right in this 4-hour golden zone. We've broken out of this thing once, came down and had a successful retest, came up. We're still below this 50 and this 200, and that's really what I'm waiting on to take along here. Once we close above this, we know we're above the daily 50. then it's a green light. We're going to take some longs, and we're going to let these suckers ride. They're going to pay really well. So what I think probably might happen here, you can see we've set a higher low, a higher low, a higher high, a higher high, a higher high. This is our first lower high. If we can sustain this and continue setting higher lows, I think we're off to the races. If we lose this, then we're going to talk about our bottom side targets. Probably won't trade in this range. I like to call the middle of these golden zones no trade zones, because you don't really know which way it's going to go. So if you're in a long, it's great. You ride them up to the golden zone, you set your stop loss below, and you're in profit. You take a good trade. If it falls out, we re-enter when it finds its support, and then we work back up, or we wait for it to lose this 50, and then we look for a short. So that's going to give you a pretty good idea on Ethereum. I'm starting to feel a little bullish, guys. I'm starting to feel a little confident. I think these charts are finally starting to put in some structure that we can work with. It's been kind of a choppy ride since Friday. We've made some good money, but this is the point where I like to sit out. I want to wait on the solid confirmation of which way we're going, and then we will attack. That'll save our capital. That'll protect our downside, and we'll put money in the bank, not in the market maker's pockets, and that's the whole go. So I want to thank you very much for watching tonight. I'm Chris Hare, the Crypto Cowboy. Like I said, like the video, subscribe, put us a comment in there. Tell me what you did tonight. I love to read those comments. But anyway, I've said enough already. I'm going to log out. I'm going to turn this thing off. I'm Chris Hare, the Crypto Cowboy. We'll see you down the road.